Paul, I wish I could go back in time and tell my 13-year-old self that I'd be talking to you, because this is quite a fucking honor, man.
God, you're easily pleased.
I know you do a ton of interviews, and obviously you get asked a million questions, and probably a lot of the same ones. So, like, what is one question you get asked so much that you just hate being asked this question?
Oh, there's fucking several. But they always start off, well, you know, I'm here to be talking about this live album, and the first thing they start off is about, well, when you was with Iron Maiden, and I'm like, oh God, where's me fucking gun? I'm going to blow me brains out. Because I'm not being horrible, but I'll tell you what, I don't think there's anything more I can say about Iron Maiden which hasn't been said in 40 years, and is in every fucking book and thing you can find. So I haven't got anything new to say about that time, you know. So it's like, yeah, come out with something a bit more original.
Oh, I totally agree. I mean, you know, I've been a fan of yours for decades. And I mean, you know, like most people my age, you know, I'm 46, you know, my first introduction to Maiden, obviously, was the Bruce era. And then you find out, wait, there was a whole other singer. And then I go back and I listen to those two albums, and to me, they're just two so distinct eras, and yet it's a very important era. And so, of course, when I go back and I do my research, I'm like, really? People ask so many of the same questions. So I'm like, you know what? I want to focus on you. Okay, not just Iron Maiden, but you. And
right.
And so, you know, I wanted to ask you, like, so in the very beginning, let's say like a young Paul Di'Anno, what was it that we're gonna get back in the time machine here and go back, and but what was it that ignited that spark for you that made you want to be a musician? Like, what was that pinnacle moment?
Well, at the time, there was like, you know, there was so much going on. You know, we had the greatest music in the world was coming from England, whether you liked stuff or not. Mm-hmm. You know, we had, obviously, you know, so the Beatles, the Kinks, the Stones, all that stuff, Led Zeppelin. And then, you know, around my era, you know, as much as I liked some of them bands and that, but what really ignited it for me was punk. You know, it was a case of like, oh, blimey, anyone can do this. Oh, so I'm going to have a go. I thought I sounded great in my bedroom, listening to T-Rex and Slade and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that really done it for me. And I got out. I went to see the Pistols, and then I had a bit of an epiphany. I saw the Ramones, and that done it for me. I thought, right, that's it. This is what I want to do. Yeah, that was it. No looking back then. My life has changed forever.
I love that, because I always thought in general punk rock music, especially for metal heads who like wanted to start playing heavy metal, you know, when I started playing guitar, I remember going, I'd love to play Maiden, but there's no way I can play Transylvania. But you know what? I can play the fuck out of Blitzkrieg Bop. So you know what? I'm going to do that. That was like my gateway, you know? It was
exactly. That's exactly what I'll do. And you know, as my tribute to Ramones, I still play that now. I play Blitzkrieg quite a bit.
And you did a great job of that too, because I saw you on the 2010 tour you did when you came back through the States, when you were playing with Icarus Witch, and you
been a while, wasn't it?
Oh, well, let me tell you, that was a treat for me, because I drove up from Atlanta to Raleigh, North Carolina, to see that show with a friend of mine, and I was so blown away, because I just remember thinking, like, I'm getting to see Paul Di'Anno. Wait, he's doing Blitzkrieg Bop. This is fucking crazy, you know?
Oh, see, what we I don't know why it just makes it interesting for me. It's like when I'm playing with my boys, the guys of my Norwegian band and that, we do a couple of, you know, we do that one. We do a little bit of 2112 thrown in there by Rush, which is quite apt at the moment. We do Holidays in the Sun as well by the Pistols. You know, just you know, I don't want to sort of forget my roots. You know, I started off singing punk and sort of got into metal more. Mm-hmm. It all sort of worked out fine.
Well, I mean, because it's kind of like you said, throwing it back to your roots and acknowledging them and not forgetting them. I can imagine that it gets kind of overbearing sometimes when people are, you know, play Maiden, play this, play that. And you're like, you know, I mean, obviously Maiden was a big part of your life, but you had influences and whatnot. And like, while Maiden might have influenced many other people, like, you know, you had your own influences that you like to kind of tip your hat to.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And that's what I said. It sort of makes, I don't know, it sort of evens it up for me on stage a bit, because, you know, it's not an insult, but it's like a slap in the face sometimes. Because most promoters, when they book you, you know, are expecting like a Maiden heavy set. Mm-hmm. And I'll be honest with you, my old management and that got me into it. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, you know, here we go again. And I'm like, well, hang on, what? My career must be fucking chopped liver to these people, you know. It doesn't mean fuck all. And I thought, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. So once I've got my legs all sorted out and I'm back on my feet again, hopefully, when we go back out on tour again, it will be mostly stuff from sort of my career, like Battlezone and Killer stuff, and, you know, there would be the odd Maiden song in there, obviously, but hopefully there'll be a new album out as well soon in the next year or so.
See, I love hearing that, because even though I loved your work with Maiden, which obviously I'd be insane not to, one of the things I did pay attention to growing up, and even now in my later years, was your solo material. And I mean, it was stellar fucking material, man. I mean, you had, the Battle Zone, Children of Madness, that is not just one of my favorite albums. It's like, it's an incredible song, and I was so glad you were bringing that out into the set. But then you had Living Dead, which I thought was, you know, I mean, that album was just, like, when I listened to that album, I was just listening to it this morning before we talked, and I thought to myself, this album could have been a modern metal classic, in my opinion. You know. Yeah,
we've not had the breaks with some sort of record companies of ours and that as well. Sort of didn't know what to do with us, or didn't have enough money to sort of push us the way we needed to go. And, you know, we're all sort of tired of losing money. So I wasn't going to throw money into it in the end. You know, I've got family and that to worry about and stuff like that. So I'm glad I didn't as well, because my medical bills are at the minute, and that's fucking through the roof. But yeah, it's been ridiculous. Yeah, but I'm proud of all these albums and that. And see, The Living Dead, I'll get confused with that one, because that was just a track off the album. The album was actually originally called Nomad.
Correct,
which
yes.
was another track off the album. But yeah, it's I was quite happy with that. I was very proud, because the vocals, the band went in the studio for a week in Brazil. I had all top-notch Brazilian musicians, my boys over there as well. And me and Paolo and that, who wrote most of it, and went into the studio. I went over 2 nights, and I'd done my vocals twice, including the high notes, no backing, and that was it. I was done.
I mean, the title track to that album, you know, The Living Dead. I mean, that song to me just, you know, made the hairs stand up on my arms, because I thought to myself, this is one of the best vocal deliveries. Not even just from you, but just in general. I thought to myself, this is a powerful metal voice, and I really wished more people would have heard that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it's weird, because, you know, I see what I'm loving nowadays, or over the last couple of years. As I said, I went down with sepsis in 1915, what a brat, in 2015. Fucking, I'm not that old. And then all of a sudden, I've not played for like nearly 4 years now. Well, I've been waiting for these surgeries and stuff, but I was getting fans all around the world coming up to me saying, "Come on, man, we want to hear your stuff now. We don't want to hear the Maiden stuff." And I'm like, "Oh, right, okay." But I've got this thing in the back of my mind, because with Battlezone many years ago, we was in America, and we didn't play one Iron Maiden song, and they was going to lynch us after the end of the set. We thought, fucking hell, we don't know what to do. So I've sort of got a bit of a dilemma. But now it seems like the fans want me to do my stuff, so I'm like, okay, let's do that. Let's pay a bit of homage to that, and hopefully some new tracks coming in soon. And then we'll do, you know, still tip your hat to Maiden and do about 2 or 3 in there in the set as well. So yeah, I'm quite happy now.
I mean, obviously, there's no denying your history with Maiden, obviously, but you've got such a vast history on your own with all your solo material. And one of the things I got so excited to read about was when you said that you really were going to concentrate on solo material in the future as far as tours and stuff go. What are some of the songs that you're just super fucking pumped to get out there and play play you haven't played in a long time, or if ever?
Oh, Overloaded, The Promise, Welfare Warriors, In the Darkness, and stuff like that. And if I've got enough breath and life left in me, we might even do The Land God Gave to Cain.
Oh my gosh! Sign me up, man! I want to see this.
So do I. Be interesting. See, this is the thing. After having all this time off, through this bloody illness and all that, I suppose I'm grateful, really, because it nearly killed me, so I should be happy about that. I'm still here. I just want to, sort of celebrate my stuff, and I don't know. I've got so many songs to choose from, but obviously we can't play for something like about 4 hours. Oh,
why not? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I've also got to train my voice again as well. Because I haven't done a great deal. Fucking hell, I've got Tarzan going off in the background here. Fuck off. Right, we'll be up there. It's my other phone. So I've got all this. We've got all that going on. So we've got to sort of make it a decent set, about 2 hours long. But as I said, I've got to train the voice again. I haven't done it for a while, and the only stuff I've done recently is I've done 2 tracks with my friend's band Air Force. Which has got Iron Maiden's old drummer Doug Sampson in it.
Oh, right, yes.
Yeah, so I've done 2 tracks on their new album, which will be coming out very, very soon, actually. They're just mixing it down at the moment. And because we all go back forever out and back in the East End and that, so it's all good.
That is fantastic. Just to hear that you've got that excitement, and it must have been really cool for you to hear from fans in general that we'd love to hear more of that Paul stuff.
Yeah, well, I've got a good relationship with the fans actually, because they're more like mates than fans, because I love it, and they come in. They come backstage after the show and they turn around. Oh, a couple of them have done it there and again, because you're not always on the mark, are you? And they come in and say, God, fucking hell, you sound like shit tonight. And I'm like, oh, all right then. Cheers, thanks. What part was that then? No, all of it. Oh, cheers, mate. You can fuck off. No, it's all right, but that's the way it goes, and I like that they feel that they can say this to me, where they wouldn't turn around and so maybe say it to maybe some of the Maiden guys or somebody in sort of like, I don't know, some other bands and that, they feel I'm more of a friend to them, so they can say what they want, which is a good thing sometimes.
As an artist, I feel like artistic criticism and honesty from your fans, your friends, your family, whatever. To me, that's what makes you grow, whether you like to hear it or not. So it's like I was speaking with a friend of mine. We always talk about this, about how if you truly love a band and you're a true fan, you're not always going to take everything they give you and say, oh, that's fucking incredible. If you love a band, you should be able to say, you know what, that was great, but that sucked. That was a mistake. I wish they wouldn't have done.
Yeah, but a lot of artists don't want to hear that.
Right, but it doesn't make you any less of a fan. It just, to me, it makes you more of a legitimate fan.
Makes you honest, but there are fans. As I said, you've got to put Maiden in a separate category to that, though, because to Maiden fans, they don't do any wrong whatever. I'll never hear anyone sort of say anything bad about their albums or anything, which is a bloody. It's absolutely phenomenal, isn't it? Really. I hear other bands get slagged off for some of their tracks here and there, and we Maiden, they just seem to just keep going on and on and on, which is fantastic. At the end of the day, they're bringing so much joy and happiness to people, and that's never a bad thing, is it? Especially in the world climate today, No,
and it's not, and it's a Iron Maiden's got a catalog of music, like I said, obviously including the first 2 albums that featured yourself.
Yep.
That mean a lot to people.
Don't forget Blaze.
Blaze stepped in and took on a very hard position. I was not
right, he did. All power to the man. Deserved the medal. And me and Blaze have done a lot of work together over the years. Especially, I took him to Australia and New Zealand with me and Russia, and we had such a laugh. He's such a great guy. and I think he's an immense singer. He really is. I like to listen to him while I'm in the backstage waiting to go on myself, and I like listening to Blaze going on. It's great. He's really good. I've got a lot of respect for him. Good man.
Well, so speaking of listening to music, like, what does Paul Di'Anno enjoy listening to these days? I mean, do you find yourself listening to a lot of the classics, or you know, are there new bands that you like? Like, what do you enjoy listening to?
Oh God! Well, at the minute, as I'm in a writing mode, I try not to listen to much, which is sort of going to influence me. So I'll be listening to the same old shit for the last couple of years. You know, one day it might be all punk stuff and that. Otherwise, it's like normal, like Sepultura, Pantera. I've got right back into Sabbath again recently, which is no bad thing, really. I don't know. I've really got back into Dehumanizer album. You know,
that's a fantastic record.
Because I love Roddy's voice as well. I really do. I mean, I think he's the ultimate metal singer. Or he was, shall I say? Bless him. Since this weekend, I've had nothing but Rush playing at the moment.
R.I.P. for Neil Peart. What a loss to the music world.
Well, the thing is, I'd never knew much about Rush before until sort of late 70s. Me and one of the Maiden crew, Loopy, who was my best friend at school when we was kids, we went up to see them at Hammersmith Odeon. And it was a Farewell to Kings tour. And with Richie Blackmore's Rainbow supporting, funny enough. And so I got to see two stellar bands that night. And, you know, it's sort of, they're the things that make a mark on you and leave, you know, you'll never forget it. It was absolutely fantastic. And I've been lucky to see Rush a few times. And, it was, they're just something else, you know. All that music and all them fantastic sounds, and there's only 3 of them. It's amazing.
I've never seen more music come out of 3 people. You know, it's just amazing.
Exactly. I've seen a lot of shit come out of 3 people, but not like. I mean, the likes of them will never come about again. You know what I mean? It's amazing. It actually hit me hard. Really did hit me hard. Apparently, Neil died on the 7th, but they didn't make it public until the 10th.
Correct. Yeah.
And it's really, I didn't even know he was ill. So to me, I've lost 2 of my favourite drummers. You know, with Clive Burr going and Neil Peart, and you won't hear the likes of them again. You know, they were just both so original and so fantastic.
I mean, you spoke about Clive. You know, Clive was such a magnificent drummer, and I was a huge fan of his work that he did with Dee Snider's band. He had Desperado. Yeah. It was him and Bernie Tormé, and it was so cool to hear Clive come back. You know, even then that might have been the last bit that we would ever hear of him, but just to hear him still able to just attack those drums with such a unique style.
He was an animal, but a very controlled animal, and very good. It was excellent. I used to miss some of my cues sometimes watching him, you know, on stage, because and we were great mates. And you know what? It's been quite a few years now since we lost him, and I still properly over Clive. I get all choked up, and sometimes I find it really hard to talk about it.
Yeah.
Especially when I spoke to his wife a couple of months back. Oh my God, that did it. And I was hoping I'd be well enough to go and do the Burfest this next couple of months, but obviously I can't. Air Force are playing it though, which with Doug Sampson, which is who Clive replaced.
Right.
So it's all good in a way, and it's all part of the family. You know, and I'd love to get up there, but at the minute, as I said, I've been stuck in a wheelchair for 4 years, which has not been much fun. But there you go. You just got to get on with it. Suck it up.
Well, you've got such a positive outlook so far for everything you've been going through. Like, how are you feeling these days? And I mean, what is the future looking like as far as the trajectory of you, getting back to where you want to be?
Well, I did say I nearly lost my right leg completely, but I haven't. I've managed to save it. I've got no knee on the right knee; it's been taken out completely, and I've got a bit of medical cement in that. The left knee's coming out next, which is a fucking nightmare. But it's very difficult because the reason it's taken so long is because if you catch sepsis, which is what almost killed me, you've got a time of 45 minutes when it really kicks in to get to hospital and get pumped full of antibiotics. And I just arrived from Argentina on the morning when that happened, and I collapsed. And I had my phone in my hand. I managed to ring up the emergency service. They kicked my door down and took me to hospital. And I spent 8 months in hospital. And then a couple of more months in a convalescent home. Fucking great that was. Stuck there with all these dementia patients, and I was the youngest one in there. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. And
the coolest one in there, I'm sure.
Yeah, I didn't know how to handle me. It was funny, though, because there's a couple of old people in there who couldn't even remember their own kids' names, but they always remembered me. And they come up and say, "No, it's kind of sweet in a way, but the one thing you want to do, you're willing yourself to get back, to get the fuck out of there." And and I did, and I've escaped, and now it's a slow process because it's left me with really, really poor tissue in my legs and the bottom, so they don't heal up so quickly, and occasionally they ulcerate. And once they ulcerate, you can't sort of operate, and so it's been like one delay after the other, and I'm on the list. I've got one of the greatest surgeons in the country going to take care of this, but unfortunately he's the guy who books the surgery, not the clinic. They say, so, and he's busy, and he's also taking care of our troops. He does a lot of our amputees as well, who comes over and that. So he's really busy, but I'll keep phoning them up every Monday and giving them shit, and I'm moving up slowly. So something has to be done. But as I said to everybody else, I said, look, once the left knee's done, and they've just put a replacement knee in that one, because that one's all dislocated and smashed up as well. So then what they're going to do is do that one, spend 2 weeks in hospital, learn how to hop about on crutches. And then I thought, all right, well, fuck that. If I can do that and get up about on crutches, that means I can use the toilets on an aeroplane. That means I can come back to the States and go and see my wife and my boy, because I've been stuck over here in England for 4 fucking years. And then I can also go and do a few shows.
See,
so that's the way I'm looking at it. I won't be getting back on the Harley yet, but soon enough.
See, I love, like I said, I love the positive attitude about it all, because Steve Grimmett, the vocalist for Grim Reaper, he had a situation where he was on tour, ended up losing his leg, and just the sheer will and determination of
what you gonna do, man? Let's put it this way. Fair play to Steve. I mean, I was really shocked when that happened to him, and I was going through all this stuff myself. He's been up there and got out and done it again, and you can catch some nasty stuff in South America, I'm telling you, where I spend most of my time when I'm not working, because I'm normally based over in Brazil. It's not that bad there, but some of these other weird and wonderful countries, you can get all sorts of bloody dodgy stuff going on. But fair play to Steve, he's done very well, and I'm really happy for him. And see, the thing is, to me, is if they turn around and it all went wrong, and they sort of said, well, sorry mate, you're going to be stuck in his wheelchair forever, and then what the fuck am I supposed to do, sit at home and knit? Fuck that, I'll be out somehow. I'll get out on tour somehow. I was put on this earth to do this, and that's what I'm going to do. Otherwise you might as well just give up and kill yourself. Although I bet you could make a pretty badass sweater, though. I'll be knitting West Ham scarves, mate.
See, you have a future ahead of you already,
Oh, cheers. Yeah, thanks for that. Now, everyone's trying to get me to do a cooking blog.
And I meant to tell you, you are quite the cook. I mean, like, when did you get bit by the cooking bug, and like what got you? Or have you always been a cook like that?
Yeah, sort of pretty much picked it up from my mum. And all that stuff, and it's great. And I do quite a bit. Today's menu, I've just made all homemade Chinese curry sauce and I'm just doing I'll just put the chicken in there in the slow cooker, and that'll all be done. And I'm going to make an egg fried rice to go with it later on. And tomorrow's burrito day.
I'll tell you, I mean, aside from just being in your presence is awesome enough, I have to say I'd totally come over for dinner, you know.
Oh, mate, I'll tell you what, my chili is one of the greatest things you'll ever eat, I'm telling you. I learned how to make chili when I was living in Texas and knew how to do that properly, but I do mine proper old school with chocolate in it as well.
Oh,
you know, real Aztec style, as they say. Yeah, I'm quite happy with it. You know, so this is it. But the thing is like, sitting around and like making good food and not doing too much exercise. It's hard to do that in a wheelchair. I'll just end up like fucking the fattest bastard in the world. But no, I'm getting there. But no, I don't know. It just gives you something to do in the day, doesn't it, really, you know, but just to keep motivated. I'm actually doing a bit of research on the book at the moment. I'm trying to sort of, it's going to take a while to do that. I might not even be alive. It would take that long. This thing about the Merovingians.
Oh, wow. Tell me a little more about that. Like, what are you looking to do with that?
Well, the actual story was, wasn't it? It was, they reckon Jesus never died on the cross, and that he was sort of because no one could actually get near to see if it really was him. Mm-hmm. And Joseph apparently had made a deal with Pontius Pilate or something to smuggle him and Mary out of the country, and they made it to southern France apparently. Where they integrated with another Davidic line of royalty called the Merovingians. So the family got into all that. And I'm trying to get all the right details, and it's costing me an arm and a leg. I've got people searching around in bloody Europe for me and stuff like that, and I can't really get stuck into it properly here. You know, I'm stuck in the wheelchair, but I really want to write something about this because I'm interested in it.
What a fascinating thing, though, because it shows another side of Paul Di'Anno aside from the madman rock and roller, you know.
Oh, I mean, see now. What this is? I watched this thing. There was a brilliant series come out from England years and years ago called The World at War, and you know, it shows all aspects of it. You know, like from the Allied side, the German side, the poor people from the Holocaust. And all that, and it's terrible, and you know how things have branched out from there, and how Israel came about, you know, and stuff like that. And I'm interested in all that because it's part of my roots, and you know, I'm just catching up on things basically. So I'm into all that. But I thought there've been so many books written about war, and so many books written about the Crusades and stuff like that. I want to find out about this Merovingian thing.
I think that's so fascinating because that's not something I even really knew about. So I love that you're wanting to tackle a topic like that.
Well, it keeps me out of trouble
for the time being, right?
For the time being. Well, see, this is what I'm worried. I'm scared about getting too into it, and then I'll have to finish it one way or the other, which means I might get in the way of touring. You know. So I'm going to take it very slow. It might come out in 10 years if I'm still alive.
Well, you know, good things come to those who wait, you know?
Yeah, but I want to do the research myself because then when I've heard it from, as they say, from the horse's mouth, then I'd probably be a bit more, you know, sort of believe in it and that. But obviously the first place to start off is in the south of France, and I can't bloody get over there at the minute. There is another Davidic Merovingian thing going on in London in a church, but it all ties in with the Templars and that as well, which is, it gets confusing. I'll get a headache.
Oh, well, hopefully this is helping you flush some stuff out here, you know?
Yeah, exactly. But I just watch all that. When you got time on your hands like me, you know, I'm sitting there watching. If I'm not writing or trying to come up with some ideas, that's what I do. I watch things like the History channels, or there's this thing called Forbidden History over here, which is absolutely brilliant. And it all runs into that with Merovingian thing and all that, and that's what got my interest. So I delved into it a little bit more and Googled it and done this and done that. And I thought, I might try and find another slant on this.
Yeah, I love that.
Which is what I want to do.
Could you see something like that even inspiring your songwriting? Like, could you see like addressing that in like a song?
It could do. It could end up more like a fantasy type song. We mentioned things like that where it all comes back into Crusades and stuff like that. You instantly think prog rock.
Farewell to Kings, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah. Now, see, Neil Peart would have had no problems with this. He would have absolutely blitzed it. You know what I mean? But I'm not as intelligent as he is, so I've got to take my time.
I love that we've talked about so many things, and like it's been so fascinating talking to you, Paul, and just a great thing. And I have to say, when you played in Raleigh, you were talking about meeting the fans, and I remember that after the show, people just lined up outside of the door, and they just walked up the stairs like your manager did and just brought us in one at a time, and you spent time talking to each and every one, and I was so blown away by how just gracious you were and how
well, you've got to look at it this way, mate. What it is that you ain't nothing without people who buy your records. So to turn around and sort of say, I'm sorry, I haven't got time to do an autograph because I need to go back to the hotel to sit there and watch TV and scratch me arse, fuck all that, I'd rather spend the time, saying hello and meeting them and stuff like that. I do it every country and every night. I don't get a lot of sleep in my life, but totally worth it.
Well, I love that because to me it was such a treat to walk in with my my debut Maiden album and my Killers and my Live +1 and just sit down for 5 minutes and have a conversation with you, and I walked out of there going, that's exactly how I hoped he would be.
Yeah. I don't change. Unless I'm pissed off one day, I do get a little bit narky now and again, but that's because I'm tired or something, or I might be in pain or something. But normally I'm generally all right and quite approachable.
Well, it's funny because I feel like musicians get so they're eagle-eyed by just the press and by people and everything, and y'all are human. You're allowed to have bad days, or at least you should be. Yeah.
Someday I think I've had 4 years worth of bad days. I don't want no more for a while.
But yeah, you're still in a good mood though, which actually says a whole lot.
Yeah, we'll see. Now, after I'm done with you, I've got no more to do with that today, so I can get back on doing a bit of research, make sure I don't burn my food I'm cooking, and wait for me wife and me boy to phone me up from over there in the States, and I can have a quick chat with them, and then that's it. I'll feel better and a bit more relieved, and I can sort of just try to deflate.
I love that. Well, before we go, I've got to say, I've got a couple of fun questions I like to ask just about everybody I interview, just because I like to hear the answers from different people. If you could have dinner with anyone, alive or dead, that was like a famous person, who would it be?
Joey Ramone.
And what would you have? I'm assuming you would cook.
Well, we're both from Jewish descent as well, aren't we? So I'd piss him off with some kosher food. No, I'd rather eat dog shit. I don't know. Spaghetti and meatballs. Oh, that's a good old meal right there. Yeah, done my style though.
If there was only 3 albums that you could listen to for the rest of your life, what 3 would those be?
First Ramones album, definitely. I'd have to make an exception here. I'd probably go Signals, Rush, and probably Nevermind the Bollocks by the Pistols.
What is it about those 3 albums that you never get tired of?
The songs, they bring back so many great memories, of being there at the time, seeing the bands. It's just part of your life,
And then finally, when I grow up, I want to be what?
A dickhead. oh no, I've done that one. I've already done that one. Sorry, got the T-shirt for that one. When I grow up, what would I like? I'll tell you what I'd like to be: a historian.
Well, it sounds like you're on the road to that right now.
Yeah. Well, as I said, I'm not really clever enough.
You don't give yourself enough credit. Hell, you educated me on something that I'm going to go look up right after we get done with this fucking interview.
Yeah,
so
see, that's the thing with me. I dive into these things, and then all of a sudden, I'll get sidetracked. And if it's still in my head after a week, then obviously it's worth pursuing. And it's been in my head for about 9-10 days now. And I'm trying to catch up on everything I possibly can. Apparently, there was a TV series or a box set you can get hold of. So I'm still trying to search on that about the Merovingians. Because I said to my wife the other day, I said, "Hey, you ever heard of the Merovingians?" She goes, "Yeah, of course I have. Why haven't you?" And I'm like, "Oh, blimey. Oh, here we go." So there you go.
I spend too much time watching Ancient Aliens to know about anything else other than history. So, that's...
Well, see, that's another one. That's all the conspiracies and all that stuff. I try and stay away from that one. There's enough conspiracies going on with the Templars, and at least it's on your doorstep, that stuff. And, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Well, Paul, thank you so much for talking to me today. This has been an absolute blast. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome, sir. Thank you very much.
Well, look, hopefully we'll talk again soon, and good luck, and I hope you get to recovering very quickly and successfully.
Got some painful surgeries to come up yet, but it's like, you got the $6 million man. Well, I got $1.25's worth of it here, so I'm all right. So I'll be all right.
Well, look, best of luck, Paul, and again, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. It's been an honor.
Cheers, Don. Thanks a lot, mate.